Hi, thanks. Yeah, it's Maggie. We live in Ontario, and Ontario produces a lot of food. I once lived in Niagara Lake, so I know, surrounded by farms. My question is, with school, with students and stuff, can we set up some kind of program rather than the offshore workers who might not be able to come this year? Could the students work on the farms?
Thank you so much for that question, Maggie. I have a soft spot for the Niagara region. My mom agreed to marry my dad because she wanted to see Niagara Falls and moved from South Korea to Canada because of Niagara. So certainly the food supply in Ontario, I think we grow some of the best food in the world, and our supply chain is very strong. And it's a very important question that you bring up. And I know our government has launched a new website aimed at individuals seeking to find a job in the agri-food industry and the chance to make a difference during this COVID-19 outbreak. Because Maggie, you're right. It's people, we can't bring in workers from other parts of the world. And so this portal highlights the employment openings and training resources in Ontario's agriculture and food sector. And I know that the feds have also announced a program to help students. And maybe Minister Phillips can share some additional details since I know he's in close contact with the feds and is involved at Treasury Board as well as the ministry.
Yeah, so Maggie, thank you. And we have a number of, we do have a strong food supply chain, but we cannot take it for granted. And I think some may have heard the Premier talk about, I think this has put a new perspective on just how important focusing on locally grown is. And we're all thankful that we have a robust agriculture sector here in Ontario. Our Minister of Agriculture, Minister Hardeman, has been hard at work on a couple of fronts. To your specific idea, which is a good idea, we have, through the portal and through the promotion to the various groups you talked about, younger people, taken that initiative in terms of making those available. Minister Hardeman also quite early on made sure, and this was working with cooperation with the federal government, that there will be a reduced number of foreign workers that will be able to come in, but that they will need to be quarantined, as you would hope, for 14 days, and made sure we worked with the federal government to make sure that there was an exemption with the various border closures so that they could then be housed, checked by doctors, and able to work. And this needed to be done quickly because, as those of you who know agriculture will know, we're very quickly getting into the season where a number of the important elements happen. So great idea, and we can again push for it, particularly in a time when people are going to be looking. There is work to do on Ontario's farms, and again we have taken the steps necessary to make sure that domestic produce is going to get from field to table, and as well make sure that the supply chain that keeps food moving across the borders is in place. But great idea. Thank you, Maggie.